Alright, try this again. G'day guys, how's it going? How is everyone? Happy New Year's and Merry Christmas. Sorry I'm a bit late with that one. We're sort of nearly halfway through January now, I suppose, which, yeah, sorry for being late, but I've had a pretty hectic start to the year and pretty hectic New Year's. But anyway, I hope yous all got really loose and drank too much and had a heap of fun. So I just wanted to make this video sort of just doing a bit of a recap on 2018 as a whole and letting you guys know what to expect as far as the channel goes for 2019. So firstly, I just wanted to say to all you guys that actually watch the channel and support us, a massive thank you. Yeah, honestly, couldn't... It's awesome to have so many people actually jumping on board, and it's really great, so I can't thank you guys enough. So obviously coming into YouTube, I really had not a clue what I was doing or what I was even trying to do for that matter. So in February I sort of just started to upload videos a bit more regularly to my YouTube page and renamed it. I'm not going to go into too much detail about how LepLabs sort of came to be or came about. I feel like that's probably for maybe another video one day. But basically I had some camera gear around. I was doing a bit of drifting. Rex had just started on the V80. He was getting going on that. Liam had just bought that R31 Skyline for 500 bucks, so I sort of just thought I may as well start filming all this stuff and putting it on YouTube. I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I do have to stress to you all that obviously me and Rex, although it might not always seem like it, we've actually been building cars since we were kids. This is what we've always done, it's what we've always been into. Liam and Adam have always been into cars and into their Japanese cars and that as well, so none of this is happening because of the channel only. It's all basically just me filming stuff that was happening already and just putting it on the channel and putting it out to the world. So yeah, I can't stress this enough that this is just what we do. It's what we've always done. None of this is because of LepLabs. It's just LepLabs is consequently because of what we do all the time basically. So at the start I really didn't have any idea what I was doing. None of us really did, and if you go back and watch the first couple of videos, it's pretty obvious that we were all sort of real awkward on camera. It took us ages to get used to actually love vlogging and making videos and that sort of stuff. So obviously between us all we always had pretty good banter, so just a matter of getting used to being in front of the camera. But it was a bit strange, and because I didn't really know what I was doing, what I was trying to achieve, I was editing out swear words and sort of sugarcoating everything a little bit, and basically going a bit overboard on editing out any naughties, I suppose. I never actually even really watched YouTube until I started uploading, to be honest, as I've never really had the time. Obviously I knew about the bigger ones like Adam LZ and TJ Hunt and that sort of thing, but until I started uploading regularly and then started watching and consuming more YouTube, I never even knew that there were so many people out there doing this, and it's been awesome to watch so many different people do what they do, and there are a lot of people out there that I really enjoy watching, and the more I consumed, the easier it was for me to sort of differentiate the differences between, I suppose, us and them, and basically what avenue would be best for us to go down as far as us just sort of finding our niche and bringing something different to a channel, and doing automotive channel a different way basically. So like first thing I sort of found that was probably not so common out there for automotive YouTubers is not a lot of people out there do everything themselves. For me and Rex, we literally sort of try and do everything in-house at the moment, and the more we learn, the more we try and adapt everything in-house, even if we can't. So like the V80, the only hands that touched that car was me and Rex and our old man, and at the end of the day, Shane, our mate, tuned it for us because we are not quite up there with the tuning side of it yet. We are planning on changing that this year. We're hoping to get a dyno this year and start looking more into doing a lot more tuning. But apart from that, all the fab work, the gearbox work, engine work, we do everything ourselves, and I think that's something that's probably a bit different and would set us apart from other channels out there. The second thing that I really sort of started to see was that, well, I already knew, I suppose, that between me and Rex and Adam and Liam, we're all pretty strange, I suppose. We're pretty different people, and I suppose that probably is probably pretty exciting for a lot of people to watch. But I sort of started to realise that we really needed to, that was going to be our niche basically, is to stop sugarcoating and trying and just basically completely be ourselves and let loose and just have the banter and the swearing and just do what we would normally do, but do it on camera. So that's sort of what I started doing in the end, and it's been received quite well. And you know, you could call us what you want, bogans, rednecks. None of it's probably incorrect. Every single one of those sorts of names is probably a pretty correct name to call us by. So we're not denying anything. We're not in denial at all. We are who we are, and for some people love it, some people hate it, but we just hope that you just get some entertainment out of watching it, because we got a lot of entertainment out of living it. But I must say, I am stoked that that's where the channel ended up, with us just being completely ourselves. Firstly, it makes editing really easy, and creating content real easy, because we don't have to really do much except for film it and cut it up and put it online. And secondly, it's just awesome that has brought so much support. I really didn't expect this sort of feedback that I've gotten, and it's just awesome to have sort of built a little community, I suppose, of very like-minded people that actually enjoy our ridiculous antics. It's been awesome to meet so many cool people this year. I've met so many cool people through the channel that, yeah, it's just been awesome. I can't stress how thankful I am to all you guys for all that. It's a bit of a tearjerker, I'll tell you that much. All right, so sort of 2018 in retrospect. First off, we had V80. Now V80 was an absolutely massive project. I think it's pretty hard for a lot of people to actually fathom just how much work went into that project. It was a massive step forward for Rex and I, and for on-song performance, and a lot of our ability. It really taught us a lot, and basically taught us a lot more of what we're capable of. So it was awesome to get that done this year. It's something that we wanted to build, or something that Rex wanted to build for a long time. That Land Cruiser's been in our family for longer than I have, I think. I think Dad's had it for since before I was born. So it's definitely something pretty special to us too, and it's definitely was a step forward in the aspect of obviously our business we're trying to create, and it was great to get in and build that. So yeah, it was a grueling couple of months, but we are getting there with it. It's getting towards the end, so that's awesome. Secondly, this year we had Liam's $500 R31 Skyline. Now, like, the whole point of that build was for Liam to actually build a car that he wasn't so scared to drive, so he could actually develop his driving a lot more. Liam's got a really nice S13, but it's his baby, and he was always way too scared to actually cut loose in it. So he was too scared to bend that car, so he never really actually drove it and found his full potential as far as his driving went. So that was the whole idea of the $500 R31, was to build him a bit of a beta car that he could go out there and really learn how to drive and find his limits of his driving. And it's done exactly that. Liam's driving's come so far since he sort of got that car on the road, and he's having a whole lot of fun. And if you go to my Instagram, you can actually find a few videos of him going a bit silly in some places, and yeah, so that thing's been awesome. It's been an awesome project for Liam and for Adam, and to develop Liam's driving a fair bit. Because even back when Adam and myself had pretty tough street cars, or we had our Skylines on the street, we used to cut a bit sick, and Liam would love it, but he'd never actually drive his S13 that way because he was too scared of it. So it's been awesome for me and Adam, because it means we've got sort of another person that we can drive with when the time comes as well, and it's awesome to see Liam actually get out there and have a go. So next we got Rex's R31, and how that R31 even came about is a bit of a funny story. Basically, Raucus, Rex's pride and joy for the past 16 or so years, I think he's had it. He had a really tough dart block, 400 nitrous small block in it, and Rex's roots run deep in the burnout sort of scene. Rex is right into his burnout cars. So basically he dropped the casting off an oil pump in his motor in his 400, and ended up throwing a leg out of bed and destroying his block, and doing a whole heap of damage to his pretty tough small block that he had. So Rex had $3,000 that he was pretty much about to order a new dart block with. At this point, he had done a fair few power cruises and that sort of stuff in Raucus, and it just, all the time he was paying so much money and working so hard to get there, and for the amount of track time he was getting and for the problems he was having with the car, it was starting to get very long in the tooth, and his relationship with that car was starting to get pretty thin, and he sort of needed a break from it. Anyway, so he had $3,000 there ready to go. Rex's, that 31 popped up for sale, came with a trailer and a heap of spares and stuff, and I sort of got in Rex's ear and I convinced him to buy it, because I said, once I get to the track and stuff, you're going to be itching to get out there with me and that. So sort of convinced Rex to buy that, and I think he's pretty glad that I did now. And we're still having a few issues with that car. It's sort of, since I had to sell my car and I haven't been tracking a car at all, it sort of just fell on the back burner, because Rex is not one to go and drift on his own, and it sort of just was not a priority. We had other stuff to do. Rex had his hands full with V80, and so it sort of just fell on the back burner. But you'll definitely be seeing more of that car in the coming months. So next is the MX-83 of Adams that I sold him. If you're following that build, now Adam's always been a big fan of Cressies, particularly MX-73s. I think he takes a lot of inspiration from Alex Brown's. Some of Alex Brown's pretty tough builds. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you're probably familiar with Alex Brown, and he's basically, of our group, he's the Stance Nation boy, and he's built some pretty dumb looking cars, and they're absolutely awesome. So Adam's always been a fan of that, but obviously the MX-83, there's a few advantages, obviously with it being 5-stud and a few other things, and just a newer car, and obviously I had one, and I had the Series 1, which is what he wanted. So basically Adam's always wanted to do a 1J Cressida. He's wanted to do one for a really long time, and like back in the day, Adam had a really tough R33 with an RB3025 in it, and me and him used to get up to some mischief, and he really enjoyed driving that car, and he set it up. He spent a lot of time and money setting it up to track it, because we were both planning to sort of get into it at the same time. But it ended up dropping compression, and at that point we'd had a lot of issues with that head. We had just about everything on that head was helicoiled at that point, and I was pretty certain that head had been in a fire, had been hot, and had gone soft. So there was quite a few issues with that car at that point. Too many Ks on it. Adam just gave up on it basically, sold it to a wrecker, and they parted it out. He'd had enough of it, and since then he was always looking for another sort of pretty cool car to get into. He ended up finding that S14 that he's got. All of us told him to steer clear of it because it was a dirty SR. None of us are really big fans of SRs, but it was a really clean car. So after trying to talk him out of it, I agreed to go and pick it up for him from Jin Jin. So we drive all the way up there, and this is for a 500 wheel horsepower SR20 S14 with a broken gearbox. Gearbox had lost third. So Adam, we go for a drive, a test drive. On the test drive, we literally get 100 metres down the road, and just the gearbox just completely went. We had to get the bloke that we were buying it from to bring my car with the trailer down to where we were so we could load it up and take it. So at that point it was already on the trailer, and I think Adam had pretty much already agreed to buy it because old mate had driven quite a far way to meet him halfway as well. So Adam's just got to his wit's end with that car, and that's how he ended up. It dropped a shim last, I think. It dropped a shim in the head, and Adam just chucked the shits. And it was time to build his own car, basically, and that car is going to be that 1J MX-3, or MX-83, I should say. But lately, he's not been very motivated. I've been trying to light a fire on his ass and get him to actually do something. He hasn't worked since, I think, like the 20th of December. So he's had a fair bit of time off, and he's literally done pretty much nothing because he's a lazy bum. So yeah, if you want to let him know about how he's a lazy bum as well, definitely drop a comment and let him know, because yeah, I'm trying to get him to do something, but I suppose it's hard for him because he lives in a suburban house. He doesn't have a shed or facilities, and he's doing everything on a driveway. But I've offered to help him and stuff, and he's not doing anything about it. So, but anyway, that will definitely get finished, because once I start getting too far ahead of him, he'll crack the shits and he'll get some motivation to start doing it. So that S14's broken at the moment, but once it's fixed, it will be for sale. Adam wants to sell it. Yeah, for anyone interested, it's definitely got all the fruit if you like SRs. It's just that none of us really personally like SRs. So anyway, as far as my year personally, it sort of started off on a bit of a high with Matsuri, and you probably would have seen my 40-minute vlog of Matsuri earlier in the year, and I loved it. It was awesome. I started off really good. I was really loving all my track time. I was really liking the way my driving was progressing, and I was having a lot of fun. But basically, I was at the point where I really wanted to build a car that was a bit more serious. My 31 that I had was actually quite clean, and it was at the point where if I wanted to go more lock, I really need a lot more track width, so I needed to go extended LCAs again, or I needed to go, as well as that, I needed to go a lot more more aggressive offset wheels because of how close my wheels were to the frame rails. So at the time, the 31 was too clean, and I really liked that car. I didn't want to go butchering it and cutting up the guards and doing that sort of stuff. So I really wanted to build another drift car. I wanted to build a dedicated track car. At the time, my friend Matt, who I was actually renting a shed with, I knew he had the RB25 to Silvio, which was the silver one, the one in primer that I bought. My plan was always to go LS for a track car, so I knew I was going to go LS, and I knew I didn't need the RB25. So knowing that I was going to buy it with the RB25, had a good running RB25, I thought the best way for me to capitalise on that was to find another car that had an RB25 that might have been blown up or had issues, and basically just do a straight swap and then sell a good RB25 car and make some money back. So I ended up shopping around. The black S13 popped up. It was a pretty good deal. Still was a good deal, to be honest. So I grabbed that, and basically my plan was to fix up the black one, put the other 25 in it, and flog it off and make a bit of money. Obviously, you probably all would have seen those videos, and so that was the plan. Unfortunately, sort of in amongst all this, I found out my arm was broken again. Again, it's not something I'm going to go into depth too much about. I feel like, again, it's for another video if you just want to know about that. But I found out my arm was broken again, which put me in a pretty shitty spot. Basically, I was out of work. I had a broken arm that I didn't know what I could do with, and I was getting real tight on funds and money. It was starting to get to be a real issue. So that put me in a pretty shitty spot. I wasn't very happy. I pretty much took a couple of week hiatus where I didn't even upload at all. And eventually I was pretty much forced into selling my R31 at the time because the S13s weren't really worth enough, and I couldn't really sell them at the point that they were. And the only way for me to get any money to live was to sell basically all I had that was worth anything at the time, and that was that R31. So that really sucked. I really didn't want to sell that car. I really wanted to keep it, but you know, shit happens, so you got to get up and get going. So that's sort of when I sort of got back on my feet. I started looking into the S13s a bit more. I started to realise that they were a bit too far gone for what I really wanted to do with the black one. So that set me back even further, and I basically realised that I'm going to be better off building a Cressida because they're cheaper, and basically all the others you've probably seen from the videos as well. So I ended up building the Cressida, which is where I am now, and so that's pretty much been my year in a nutshell. Obviously you saw that I managed to score my big beast of a Falcon at the time. That's been awesome. I've been loving that thing. I've got big plans for that next year as well. So overall, it's pretty good end of the pretty good year considering how it started out and what I went through. So yeah, basically after I found out my arm was broken and I was out of work and that, I pretty much just I wanted to cut down all my expenses, so that's why I sold my Navara. That's where I ended up with my beast of a Falcon, and it's that Falcon's been awesome. It's been great. So that's basically LepLabs in a nutshell for 2018, and it was a pretty good year all up for the channel. It's been going pretty well. 2 uploads a week has been actually pretty challenging, but I sort of enjoy the challenge of being forced to put out content. It forces you to be a bit more creative. I do apologise for some of the content not being that great. Again, I'm sort of learning as I go, so I'm just putting out what I can and taking back what I can as far as feedback, and taking everything on board and hoping to sort of keep progressing and keep going. And obviously, given the fact that we don't sugarcoat ourselves at all, and we're pretty, you know, we are who we are, I don't really expect that YouTube will ever be a revenue thing for us. I don't think it'll ever be monetized. It's a bit too ridiculous. That being said, I never started it with the idea of money. It just actually, the idea of starting the whole channel was more so to market On-Song Performance was our performance business. So that's sort of all not really relevant anymore, but I don't really do it for the money. I don't make any money out of it, obviously, and I don't believe that it will ever return any money in the way of revenue goes because of basically the way the videos are. So basically, are just doing it for the love of it. We're all just doing it for the love of it, and we really like making videos. So I've got no plans to stop doing it, and yeah, we hope you enjoy the videos. So as far as what to expect in 2019, I've had a fair few messages from people, I suppose, asking how they can support the channel and that sort of thing. Liam's sort of been talking to me a little bit about Patreon. To my understanding, up until now, I thought Patreon was basically just essentially a GoFundMe, which I really am not interested at all, because we're not a charity case. That's not what we're about at all. So I've pretty much since been learning a bit more about Patreon. I still don't reckon it'd be an avenue I go down, but I've started to learn that you can get stuff out of it. But basically, I am planning on getting some stickers made and start doing a bit of merch. So if you would like to support that way in the new year, I'll hopefully have some stickers that can be available for purchase. They're not going to be very expensive. It's more so about just getting our name out there. So that being said, the best way anyone can support us is to literally just tell your friends about us. show us to people you reckon would like us, and try and just help us get more of an audience is the best way we could. That's more than what we could even ask as far as support goes. So that's the best you can do for us. But I am hoping to have some stickers available, and just see where we go from there. Obviously, if they sell well, we'll keep going down that avenue. But I'm not about forcing it down people's throats or anything like that, or massively marketing it like that. So that's pretty much basically where we're at as far as channel support. We're not a charity case. We don't want to take people's money for nothing. Basically, any money that we do make from selling stickers and that sort of thing is basically at this stage all just going to go towards buying more camera gear. Obviously, it's pretty hard for me to be out here working, and sometimes for Rex to be out here working while I'm not here. And then for Liam and Adam to be working on their own stuff, it's really hard to capture everything because I don't have that much camera gear. So basically at this stage, all that will get put back into getting more camera gear so that I can leave cameras with Adam and Liam and that sort of thing, and we can do more content and hopefully just start doing more releases is basically where it'll end up. Like I said, none of this build stuff happens because of the channel, so none of the money that we make from the channel is going to go into it really until it may get to that stage. But at this point, it's all about just trying to develop the channel and try and get more camera gear so we can keep putting out more content. But basically, don't feel obligated to buy anything. We don't really expect anyone to be throwing money at us. And honestly, if you're already watching our videos, then you're probably a pretty fucking sick unit already. So for starters, 2019, I really want to do a shitload more driving. Not just me, Rex hopefully more driving, Adam hopefully more driving, and hopefully Liam more driving. So Adam's taken a break from work. As I said, he hasn't worked since December now. He's just taken an indefinite break. He's hoping to finish his Cressy and with his time from work really start doing a lot of driving. Liam's R31 is hopefully going to get turboed very soon. Liam's now got everything he needs. He got his NIS tune board for his ECU the other day, so he's literally got everything he needs now. He's just working on getting some quotes for the fab work. He's got a mate that's a really good fab worker that's going to be doing his fab work for him, so he's just working on getting some quotes and getting some time slots and working on that. And Liam's R31 will be turboed then. Hopefully by then, we've all convinced Liam to actually try skid on the dry, and hopefully we can all start doing a lot more driving. Rex's R31 at the moment is sort of halfway in between getting sorted with its new ECU and new tune and new turbo and new setup basically. And so basically by the time I finish my Cressida, my turboed LS Cressida, hopefully all four of us will have really sort of on-point cars that will all be pretty evenly matched, hopefully, and we'll all be able to do a whole lot more driving is the plan. We've also got Liam's MX-83 that he bought, which you might have seen in one of the updates of his R31. At this point, that car is still just a big question mark. It's still an unknown. He has no idea what he wants to do with it. He sort of wants to do something to try and make some money out of it, but I'm sure, as most of you know, it's pretty hard to make money out of building cars. So yeah, he's tossing up what to do with that. He's talking about 1J, but yeah, at this stage, that's just a question mark, and it's not really a priority. It'll just be a when we get to it sort of thing. V80 is currently basically almost completely sorted as far as all the niggling issues we were having with it. So hopefully very early in the new year, hopefully this month, it will be back in for its final tune on its 13 pound, and we'll be aiming for that 500 wheel horsepower goal. So stay tuned for that. That's definitely coming. Once my Cressy's done, I really would like to spend a bit more time on this absolutely beautiful Falcon here. I'd like to do a bit more strip driving in it, start doing a bit more drag content, and basically in 2019 I really want to turbo it. I've got pretty much everything together that I need to turbo it. Me and Rex actually hooked HP tuners up to the OBD dongle the other day, and we realised you can read the tune off the Ford ECU, so we're hoping we can tune the Ford ECU and do that this year. Apart from that, I've got turbo, intercooler, all that sort of stuff I need, so hopefully that'll happen before maybe middle of the year or something as well. It's sort of just a matter of wait and see. Like I said, we don't make any money out of this, and I'm pretty broke, so it'll just be a matter of see what we can get to. I would really like to get to my F-Truck in 2019 as well, although because of our terrible laws in Queensland that they've changed now to you can't upgrade a vehicle's tow rating legally anymore. So it sort of puts the F-Truck at a bit of a weird thing where if I can't get it rated to tow what I want it to tow, it makes it not really that useful of a car to me. So basically what will probably end up happening with that is I'll probably rebuild it with a 302 in it and use it to flog it off and make some profit out of that and make some money next year. So I would like to get to that next year. Rex and I have got some pretty sick plans for the Volvo, which we will unveil this year. Yeah, you'll just have to wait and see what they are, but we're hoping to have that built at some point early this year as well. And yeah, that'll be heaps of fun. So keep tuned for that. Like I said, the Volvo's got some pretty sentimental value to me, so I really wanted to do something with it. And obviously the RB didn't work out because of said ARM and S13s and everything being all up in the air. So that never sort of eventuated, but we are planning on doing something with the Volvo, so that'll be happening early in the new year. Rex has also got a VK Commodore, which we're hoping to do something next year, probably later in the year as well. That's going to be a pretty exciting build if we get to that. Hopefully Raucous, the blue HJ1 tonner, Rex's pride and joy, hopefully that will make a comeback next year, or this year, sorry, I keep saying next year. 2019, this year, hopefully that'll make a comeback, maybe really late in the year, but again, it's another one of those cars where we sort of have everything here we need to do what we want to do. It's just a matter of finding the time and putting in the effort to get it done. So we're aiming towards getting that done later in the year. And the yellow one tonner, which we've dubbed Big Banana, it'll probably sit out this year again. I don't think we'll get to that this year, but we do also have big plans for that car. That's going to be an awesome build as well. But aside from that, we've actually got a heap of H-series utes and one tonners and stuff to build. Like I said, we don't make a lot of money out of this outside of that, so we've got a few H-series utes we want to build and sell for money, basically to keep developing this property and we can keep buying the stuff we need. We want to hopefully buy a dyno this year and start doing a lot more of our own tuning. So again, it's all just a matter of where we can slot stuff in. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make content out of the H-series ute and tonner builds or not. If you drop a comment, let me know whether you reckon I should, if that's something you'd be interested in or not. But basically it's just going to be a few cool old school Holden builds that'll all be for sale as well. So, and outside of all them builds, me and Rex would actually would like to start doing a fair few more sort of educational videos on why stuff happens and how stuff works and that. Probably shock a lot of you to know because we don't act like it, but we're actually fairly academic and we would like to sort of pass on a bit more information about why we make decisions the way we make them because of what we understand. So we're hoping to sort of do a lot more educational stuff in the new year as well, outside of just build content. I also want to do a lot more sort of videos featuring a lot of cool cars that I've got, my friends have got, and just doing sort of, I suppose, build what Hoonigan that do is build breakdowns. So start doing a bit more of that with some other cool cars around the place that are definitely worth looking at. So. Outside of all of that, there's a few events I'd really like to tick off the list for this year. I really want to get to World Time Attack, and there's a few other pretty big events that I would really like to get to and hopefully maybe make some content there as well. So I've done the math, and being broke plus making no money, none of this really makes any sense. I don't know how I'm actually going to get to all this and build all this stuff and do everything I want to do. But it's important to have goals, I suppose, and try. But yeah, it's hard when you don't make a heap of money. Obviously, like I said, my arm's broken at the moment, so I'm pretty limited for what work I can do. So basically just out here having fun while I can until I can basically line things up to get my arm fixed. So this is just basically where it's going to continue going until then. So basically, all in all, we're sort of just getting started. We're hoping for 2019 to really ramp this up and get a lot of stuff happening. We've got a lot of stuff up on the cards, and there's going to be hopefully heaps of really good content. So we appreciate everyone that's been supporting and watching us so far, and definitely keep tuned because there's plenty of stuff coming, and hopefully it's going to be awesome. So thanks again, guys, and we hope to see you all throughout the year.